Hello everybody, welcome back. Today I want to be very clear on what we're talking about in this video. We are talking about Predator, Predator 2, Predators, and The Predator. We are not talking about Prey because I haven't seen it yet. It hasn't come out yet, but I do plan on making a video of that when it does come out. We are not talking about either of the crossover films, Alien vs. Predator, which I have not seen yet, because I have also not yet seen any of the Alien movies. So my plan is, whenever the next inevitable Alien movie gets released, I'll watch all of these, I'll make a video on those, and then at that time I will decide whether or not to also include the Alien vs. Predator, which I might save for another time. Good on all that? So we're talking about 4 movies: Predator, Predator 2, Predators, and The Predator. And I gotta say, I wasn't really keyed into what the public opinion of these are. My guess would have been that people liked the first one and then they get decreasing opinions from there, but I don't really know that for sure. After seeing a little bit of talk about them from other people, I don't think it's quite that simple, but I feel like my opinion is probably not going to be the majority, because starting off with the original Predator, I thought that movie was boring. Didn't write very many notes. Let's go. We've got the arm wrestle meme. I swear, I always thought that was a drawing. I guess it's not. Yeah, it's an arm wrestle where they go and they clench their fist. It's the meme, right? And they clench their fists, and the meme is like one group of people and another group of people who are normally disagreeing with each other, but there's one thing in the middle that they agree on. I always thought that was a drawing, because those are not what human arms look like. But nope, it's from this movie. So there you go. My next note was weird audio, which is going to come back in another movie, but there were just things where, like, certain lines sound like they had been added in after, and they didn't flow at all with the rest of the movie, or, like, it seemed very much like what I was hearing was not what the lips of the actors were saying. And, it's like the kind of thing that you expect in animation, but not really in live action. So I don't know what's going on with that. I don't know if it's just the version that I have, but that was weird. Then later on, again, I wrote sound not balanced. I don't remember exactly what that was in reference to, but I feel like there was a lot of, if you're doing an action movie, and you're going to have big explosions, and you're also going to have people whispering things to each other, obviously the whispering is going to be quieter, right, than the explosions. But, like, you need to balance it so that you can hear everything. Because I feel like what was happening was the quiet stuff was too quiet, so I'd have to turn the volume up. But then it would get to the really loud stuff, which was way too loud, and then had to turn the volume back down. Not an enjoyable viewing experience when I had to keep balancing the sound. My penultimate note is get to the chopper, because I did not know that this was where that came from. 2 memes out of this movie, and my last note in very big letters is bored. I found this movie boring, and I want to be clear here because there is a difference. I was on my phone a lot, and it's not that because I was on my phone, I was distracted from the movie. It was definitely a case that the movie was so boring and I wasn't engaged, so I chose to get on my phone while watching it. So this movie did not rope me in, did not keep me engaged, did not entertain me on its own. A lot of that, I think, is down to the outdated special effects. A lot of that was, the sound. If it was too quiet and I didn't care, then I couldn't hear what they were saying. A lot of it I would call pacing issues, where I was just bored. I didn't care. Moving on. Predator 2. My first note is this is different. And this is one thing that I will say, even though I didn't like most of the movies, I really like that all of the movies are pretty different. They're all pretty much standalone, and there are different genres within them. I think more franchises, cough cough Harry Potter, I think more franchises should do more things like that, where it's set in the same world, but you're not tied down to the storyline. You're not tied down to the characters. Just set it in that world, but make it its own story, its own setting. I think more franchises should do that. That said, I also did not like the second movie. So I put, this is different, and that's good. So I think the concept is good. Did not think this movie, however, was good. Bill Paxton is annoying. Once again, I wrote the sound is weird, and then I wrote Glover versus Paxton. So it's Danny, right? Not Donald. It's weird because Danny sounds like a younger person's name, and Donald sounds like an older person's name, but they're flip-flopped. So whichever Glover is in this movie, he doesn't speak. He always, like, does this whisper talk thing. And I haven't seen him in a lot. I haven't seen the Lethal Weapon movies, so, like, my biggest exposure to him was, like, Saw 2, I think, is the one that he's in. And I thought that was just an element of that character, I guess. But no, that's just how he talks. He doesn't speak. He whispers, he groans his words out, and it's very, very quiet. And so they had to go and, you know, at least they tried in this one, they had to balance that so that his very, very quiet manner of speaking is on the same level as Bill Paxton's over-the-top shouting everything that he says. And, like, I'm thankful that I didn't have to turn the volume up and down and up and down and up and down. But, like, from an acting perspective and from a directing perspective, those things just don't mesh. When you have one character only whispering and one character only yelling, but that's not, like, that could work if it's part of, you know, if it's acknowledged, right? And one person is always saying, stop yelling so much, right? And the other character is saying, speak up, but, like, it's never acknowledged, and so it's presented as if it's just normal conversational tone between two people, and it's not. So that was distracting. And then my last note is long, slow, still bored. I don't know if you can read that. So, I'm 0 for 2 so far in the Predator movies. Then we get to the third one, Predators. My first note. So, when... Jeez, what's his name? I just wrote Machete. I can't remember the actor's name. When he is calling out for help, right? And all the characters are, like, standing on the edge of the field because they know it's a trap. Now, I know that predators can mimic sounds, right? So I get that, like, the characters don't have that information. But even still, I wrote that I thought it was strange. No one noticed Machete didn't say anything else, right? I would think that if I was nearby somebody who was calling out for help, even if they were weak, I would think that they would say more than just one thing over and over, or at least say it with a different inflection or tone, right? If you can hear that the people that you're calling out to help are there and they're still not helping, like, you're going to change it up a little bit. So with all these people that are supposedly survivalists, I would have expected that somebody would have picked up on the fact, you know, and, like, not that it ended up making much of a difference anyway, but, like, it just makes them seem dumber to me that they didn't notice that he's only saying exactly the same thing, exactly the same way, over and over. It's just not natural. Okay. Then I wrote, why does she know about Dutch and only Dutch? So this is another recurring theme in these movies, is they keep referencing the older movies, and they don't need to. And, like, it wasn't that big of a deal in the second one, because at that point it's only the second one. But then here, you know, there's the big reveal of she knows what it is. Why? Why does she know what it is? I kept waiting for them to explain that she was, like, part of a group that, like, you know, knows about... But no, she just happens to have heard this story and happens to connect the dots that it's the same thing, but she doesn't mention anything about the second one, which is fine. Don't mention anything. But, like, don't mention anything at all, right? Imagine if you are any type of combat soldier, mercenary, whatever the characters in this movie are, and you hear a random story in your many years of work of somebody vaguely describing the events of Predator 1, and then you find yourself in the situation that these guys are in Predators. are you really going to remember this one? How many stories must you have heard? And how many must have you assumed were not true or were exaggerating? Like, it's so forced and shoved in our face, and it for no reason. It doesn't add anything to the movie. It doesn't help them figure out how to defeat. It's just there to be like, see, we're part of the. We know you're part. You've got the same creatures. We know you're part of the franchise. You don't need to do that. And then my next note, which might come as a surprise after all the complaining I've done, is I like this one. Then I wrote fire effect bad. So apparently some of the CGI fire I was not impressed with. Then I wrote rules because I was confused because in earlier Predator movies we've seen that they don't attack like women and children. They don't attack people with guns, and that wasn't necessarily the case here. But I've since read that not all of them follow the same rules, so that's fine. My last bit here says Scoggins dumb. Walton Scoggins' character, he like starts shouting at one point because he thinks that they're safe, but it's just like, don't shout, there are aliens out to kill you. Why do they decloak? So this is an issue I have in all three of them, but this is just the first one that I pay enough attention to care. Why do they ever decloak? Right, I get that sometimes you can see the shimmer, right, because it's like catching up, but like, why do they decloak so often? Sword fight scene sucked. So I've heard people talk about this, and they didn't seem to share my opinion that it sucked, but that was like one of the most boring parts of the whole movie to watch. And I've read that like that actor insisted on doing it, so maybe it was like actually done really well and accurately, but it doesn't look good on screen, in my opinion. And then I wrote ending, ? Because they're like talking about getting off planet, but I'm like, how are they planning to do that? And it's not answered, but that's fine. So third one I liked quite a bit. It started right away. No build up, no boring it's just like boom, characters are falling, boom, they're in the jungle, boom, they're being hunted. It drew me in right away. I was not on my phone at all for that one. Obviously I still had some issues with it, but that's why the smaller issues bothered me so much, is because the overall movie I liked a lot more. Now we get to The Predator, and I've got a whole page on this one. More notes than the other three combined. Although I wrote fairly large, so it's not that much. First note, stop referencing the older movies. Why do they keep doing this? Stop it. It not only is it pointless, not only does it not add anything to the movie, but it puts the movie at a complete halt so we can talk about older movies, and then we have to pick it up and keep going again. It's such a monkey wrench in the pacing of it all. I hate it so much. So, part of the reason I like the third one, Predators, is that even though all the characters have similarities, they're all very different. They have different personalities. They express themselves in different ways, so it's interesting to watch them interact. In The Predator, we get a bunch of the same guy. All these people have different issues, but they're all basically the main guy in a different outfit. That's less interesting to watch, in my opinion. Then I wrote this little three-way chart of the doctor, the dad, and the kid, because they all have their own storyline going on, and they do come together, but to me, that's a hindrance in the beginning of the movie. Is like, okay, we've got this thing going on. All right, cool. I'm in. I'm with it. Oh, no. Okay. No, this is the important thing. All right. I'm in. I'm with it. I got it. Wait, no, not. And it's just like, it's so unfocused. And I know that lots of movies do that. I don't know why I noticed it so much here. I think it's because, like, the thing with the doctor, where she's, like, investigating the alien, and there's no beating around the bush about it, right? There's no, like, oh my gosh, you mean aliens are real? It's like, oh, it's an alien. Let's take a look. Like, it's right to the point. And so, again, with how all of these movies have been different, I thought that that's what this movie was going to be. right? The doctor looking into it and exploring it from that side. I don't know why I'm moving my hand around so much. I'm sorry. So I was like ready to go with that, and then it was like, nope, that's not what the movie is. So I guess I was just disappointed by what the movie seemed like it was going to be about, and then it wasn't really about that, other than like 4 minutes. Then I wrote, oh good, a child murdered a guy, which is, I mean, they mention it again later, so he knows that he did that, but like, he shows no remorse. He doesn't ever like talk about that he's even upset about it. Like that, it's pretty messed up. Then I wrote, maybe take the gauntlet off as they're carrying the kid around. The aliens are chasing them. They do it at one point, but I'm like, that's probably the first thing you want to do when the aliens are after the tech. Take the tech off and leave it behind. Again, I wrote the cloaking is so confusing. What? And you know, I get it's a movie, right? So like we want to see the creature, so they have to decloak, but it makes no sense. And like even an explanation about like there's a limited time frame, right? And then it has to recharge. You can explain that. You can put information into these movies that will explain that so that you can get the decloaking benefit for the audience and the cool shots without making it seem like the predators are just stupid. Because to decloak while you're hunting is just stupid. We've already clearly established that they're not doing it to be fair or to be good sports. They just enjoy killing things. So, Then I wrote, the kid's sound sensitivity sure went away. Now, I know a whole lot of people have talked about the whole concept of where they went with the autism of it all. I don't feel like I need to touch on that because other people have. But in the beginning of the movie, when these kids pull the fire alarm, he's like shown to be unable to move. He's completely debilitated? Is that the word I'm looking for? He's out, right? He's down, he's crouched, he's covering his ears, unable to do anything, right? Until the fire alarm turns off. Then later in the movie, you've got explosions, you've got gunfire, you've got things that are way louder and more disruptive than a fire alarm, and he's totally fine. So like, if you're gonna include a character like that, you know, just try to actually think about what someone living with that would actually be going through and make it consistent. Because when you don't make it consistent and you just make it a weird superpower to make your plot easier, that's why people get mad at you. Speaking of people getting mad at you, I don't even want to touch on the whole, you know, actual predator situation that was going on with Shane Black's friend. Not cool, dude. Don't do that crap. Let's move on. Next note says, what happened to the force field? So, they're getting on the ship. The ship's driving away. The kid's like, oh no, a force field's going to come on. And for some reason, this force field has just enough room for a human body to fit in between the ship and the force field. That seems odd, but okay. Cool visual. One guy goes on top. One guy goes underneath. One guy gets cut in half. Cool. Fine. Then McKenna uses the force field to slide down like he's at McDonald's play place. Get in the ship, right? And then things are happening, and then he gets tied up and falls out, and the force field's just gone? Did it show somebody turning the force field off? I didn't catch that, and I was not distracted on my phone. So it seemed like they just forgot that there was a force field on. That was weird. Oh, I missed a note. The kid is a true warrior. So, fine. You want to have a little fun misdirect where we all think that he's going for the main guy, but he's actually going for the kid. That could work if you just use McKenna, right? Or if you use, you know, different types of words like most intelligent or most resourceful or something like that, right? But he said one of you is a true warrior. A warrior. Nothing that Rory does in this movie would be considered warrior-esque. So that's just a lie, movie. That's not a clever twist. That's just a lie. Why is he slapping and throwing, comma, not killing? It's a plot armor thing. I know that. right? I get it. I get how movies work, but it's stupid when there are other characters that we don't know and we don't care about. They're exploded. He shoots spears at them and they explode on impact, even though that's not how physics works, right? But it's cool, right? So whatever. But then he gets the same chance to destroy the main characters and he just picks them up and yeets them. Or he just smacks them so they go flying. It's stupid! I get that you want the main characters to survive longer, but like, make that an element of the character. That they somehow escape or they dodge the whatever. And like, that happens a couple times, but multiple times, he just picks up and throws a guy. Not even like throws him at a big spike. Just picks him up and throws him. It's stupid. It's stupid. It's stupid. The unicorn. Okay, so the main guys have died. They're like, and I know this movie had severe reshoots, so maybe this is a byproduct of that, but he's like burying, maybe he doesn't even bury it, but he's like got this handkerchief full of pieces of junk that are somehow memorable to the people that died. First of all, other than the cigarettes, I couldn't have placed any of those with any of the other characters. But then with the unicorn, he had already said something for that guy, right? For Nettles? He had already said what his thing was. And then she threw the unicorn in later. So like, first of all, it really just seems like I don't want this stupid unicorn that for some reason I'm still carrying around. I want to get rid of it. It would have made, maybe not made more sense, but it would have been more emotional if they didn't have anything for him, right? They didn't have anything for Nettles. And that was like, oh, you know, we want to honor them. We don't have anything for Nettles. Oh, blah, blah. And then she's like, oh, I actually kept this thing. I actually thought it was really sweet. And then she, you know, that could make sense. But like, when you already have a thing for him that's not memorable for us, the audience, and then she's also like, oh, this thing that I have to remember him by? Yeah, I don't want it. It's just really weird. It's just a really weird note to go out on. Before I get to my last note, I'll skip. So we find out that the first alien that they dealt with was here to help us, right? By giving us a suit to fight off the super predators. So why did that one murder so many people? It makes absolutely no sense. Hey, I'm going to drive to your planet and give you this weapon to kill my people. But also, while I'm here, kill. Why? And then my last note. Like, what is it? Oh, it's a suit to kill the other predators. I wrote, now we have a way to kill the things we've repeatedly killed before. What? You know, I get it. It makes it easier, I guess. But like, they make it this big thing of like, oh, now we can fight back. It's like, you've been fighting back for 4 movies. And sure, they might not know about the events of Predators, the only good one of the, but like, you know there have been multiple events in the past, and you know that aliens have died in the past. So like, it's better, but they treat it as if like, oh, this is our one and only hope. This is our first chance to fight back. And it's not. It's not at all. It's so stupid. It misses everything that's come before it. Also, I didn't write a note about it, but I was thinking about it afterwards. He swallows that alien tech. And like, I get it. They do it in Birds of Prey, right? When you want to keep something, you don't want other people to get it. They do it in The Incredible Hulk also. You swallow it, right? So that no one can get it. You still got it. You don't have to worry about it. And like, for some things that make sense, right? For something that comes from outer space that's included in a weaponized suit full of weapons that you've seen kill your friends, you're probably not going to put any part of that inside your own body. Right? Am I wrong about that? And it's just a lazy way for them to have the cloaking ability later on, which doesn't like really lead to much. He gets to sneak on there to get the jump on them, but like then there's this whole other conflict, so it's not even a very good payoff. The Predator, there was quite a bit in that movie that I liked. but it's not a good movie overall, in my opinion. So we've got Predator, boring, slow, not interesting. These are my opinions, not stating these as fact. My opinions. Predator 2, boring, slow, uninteresting, weird sound balance. Predators, pretty good. Some issues, but boom, it got me in there. That's definitely the one I'm most likely to watch again. I almost restarted it as soon as I was done to like watch them all meet again, but I didn't. But that one I'll watch again. And The Predator, some cool visuals, some cool concepts, buried under and smothered over by a bunch of stupid crap in a not very good movie. Now, Prey, cautiously optimistic for. And I say that, but really, I'm not being very cautious about it. I think it looks pretty good. I watched the trailer once. I'm a sucker for, like, Native American stuff and, like, archery in particular. And it seems like the whole thing's going to be, like, stripped down and more bare bones. I'm excited. I'm like, you know, it could be horrible because most of these I don't like very much. But I'm pretty excited for Prey. I hope it's really good. So, those are my thoughts on the mainline Predator movies. Hey, do you like my shirt? It says Alexander Hamilton. I designed it myself. And if you want, you can buy this or other shirts that I've designed. You can go to samtommiller.com/store. I'll put a link in the description. And I got a bunch of t-shirt designs on there. You can buy them as t-shirts, tank tops, hoodies, other products, men's, women's, kids. Check it out. If you want some weird, stupid, silly shirts that I made, you can go buy those. But that's all I got for this. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Which Predator movie is your favorite? Do you like them all? Do you agree with some of the weird things that... am I just missing a lot of the mythology? Is all this stuff explained in comic books and stuff that I haven't read? How do the crossover movies compare? Are they similar in quality to these ones? Let me know in the comments. That's everything I got to say. Thank you very much for watching, and have a good day.